Today we're going to look at how we can get around one of Capture One's most annoying limitations. Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel. And if this is your first time here, my name is Dan Quintero and I'm a commercial photographer based in Sydney. And today I wanted to make a video just to talk a little bit about a particular issue with Capture One that people have been bringing up for a really long time, and how to get around that issue. If you follow my channel at all, you will know that I'm a big fan of Capture One. I do use Lightroom as well, so I do use both of them. But if I am working, so at a client shoot, then 100% of the time I am going to be using Capture One. And the reason for that is that, there's several reasons really. Number one, the image that renders outside of the box, so without me doing anything, just looks nicer on Capture One than it does in Lightroom. And I know we've spoken in the past that you can make Lightroom look like Capture One, but that's just extra work, and I don't want to do that. So out of the box, it just looks nicer, it's sharper, the colors look nicer. So I have a preference to that. And the other thing is that the tools that are in Capture One seemed like it's, I guess the whole platform just looks more engineered towards the professional, whereas Lightroom tends to be a little bit more user-friendly. So Capture One, there's definitely a learning curve. It's not a super difficult application to learn how to use, but it's definitely not as easy as Lightroom. Lightroom is way more user-friendly, but in doing so, I think it misses out some of the requirements or the things that, as a professional, make your life a lot easier. So specifically, the issue that I want to talk about is the fact that when you are shooting tethered, in Lightroom, when you shoot tethered, you will take a photograph with your camera, and the image will be saved to both the memory card on the camera, but also to the hard drive. So it transfers into Lightroom. Capture One has always worked a little bit different, and there's a reason for that. The way that it extracts the image out of the camera is just different to the way that Lightroom does. And so because of that, when you shoot a photograph with your camera, the file would only get saved to the laptop and not to the camera. And that's something that people are always a little bit uneasy about, and I can totally understand this. So there are some concerns, and that has bitten me in the backside before. Whereas, where in a certain situation, sometimes the tether may disconnect itself. And so unless you're paying close attention to the camera, to the computer, you might be shooting away and not realize that those files are not being saved to the computer. This has happened to me a couple of times. Now, normally what I will do is when I'm shooting, I'll have the camera set on a Tether Tools table right next to me, so I can keep an eye on the computer. And I do that because also it's just a lot easier to see your images in a nice big screen rather than the back of the camera. But sometimes, you will shoot for maybe 2-3 minutes, and this has happened to me, where I go back to the computer and he hasn't saved anything for the last 5 minutes. So that's something to be aware of. Now, normally when you are on a big shoot, you will have a digital tech. A digital tech is a person that sits in front of the computer, and it's monitoring the computer at every, for the whole shoot. So all you have to concentrate on is just getting the image. And then the digital tech will tell you whether the connection has been severed, and also things like, if your white balance is wrong, or things like you're missing focus, that sort of thing. So that's the job of a digital tech. But most of the time, you don't have a digital tech with you. It's just you and the camera. So you need to make sure that you've got a reliable connection. And for the most part, Capture One is way more reliable than Lightroom. It doesn't crash anywhere near as many times as Lightroom does, and the connection is not lost very often, but it does happen. So it's just something to be aware of. So that has been the most critical thing that people voice about Capture One. But I don't think that they've realized that a while back, this is not a new thing, but a while back, they have introduced a setting inside of Capture One that allows you to change that. And that's what I want to show you today. There is a way for you to be able to save the images to the computer and to the camera as well. Now, I will say this, it will depend on the type of camera that you're using, okay? So the only way that you're going to know is to really to connect your camera and just see what options you get. But I'm going to go into Capture One here, and I'm going to show you how you can go in there and change the settings so that it will also save to the memory cards inside of your camera. So what we want to do is we want to start a tethered session in Capture One, and actually every session in Capture One is a tethered session. So you don't actually, it's a little bit different to Lightroom, where you need to go into the file menu and actually start a new tethered session. Capture One, the minute that you attach the cable or your camera to the computer, you're already in, it can become a tethered session at that point. If I shoot something here with the camera, it will automatically go to Capture One. So we've got different modules that we can go into inside of Capture One. We've got the library module, tether, shape, style. We want to go to the tether module for this, and then we want to navigate down to the camera settings. This is a group of settings that you can go in there and change. And inside of that group, you can see here, you can just expand it if you can't see it. What you will see is that there is a subgroup as well called shoot, this one here. Okay, so you may have to expand this if it's not already expanded. And this is where we want to go to. There is a save to setting, and there'll be a drop down there and there. And again, it depends on the type of camera that you're using. So connect your camera, and once it's connected and Capture One sees the camera, click on that drop down, and it will give you the different options available to you depending on your camera. So in this case, I've got a Canon 1DX Mark II, and it's telling me that I've got 3 different options. Now, the default is always going to be Capture One. It's been like that forever, which means that the images are going to be saved to the Capture One catalog or on your computer only. But in this case, because of the camera that I've got connected, it also allows me to save it to the CFast card, which is the one on the camera there. Now, I don't have a, this camera has 2 types of different cards. If I had the other card in there as well, which I think it's a, what is it? It's something, CF Express, I think it is. It will also see it in there, but at the moment I've only got the 1 card in there. So that's why I can only see 1 card in there. And so CFast in here, if I select that, it means that it will only save it to the CFast card on the camera. But if I say CFast plus Capture One, then this is going to make it look like it behaves when it's connected to Lightroom. It's going to save a copy to the camera, and it's going to save a copy to the computer. And this is what people tend to be more used to when you're shooting tethered inside of Lightroom, and you're sort of mimicking the behavior there. Again, it's going to depend on the camera that you use. So if your camera doesn't support it, you will always see Capture One in there, and so you will have to shoot in the old-fashioned way. But I think that this has become, or in the past, it's been such a vocal issue, a criticism really of Capture One, that I think that going forward, they've realized that they need to support this for as many cameras as possible. So I think what you probably find is that for new cameras coming out and cameras that have been out for maybe 2-3 years, you're going to have this option available to you, which I think is a really, really good idea. It gives you just I guess a sense of security that you've got a backup just in case something happens to the computer or the tether breaks. The other cool thing is that, of course, if the tether does break, Capture One does have a brilliant, I guess, fallback as part of the system, which means that automatically, if the tether breaks, automatically the camera will save the images to the card, and the minute that you're reconnected, it's going to upload everything back to the computer. But this is setting it up manually, and it will automatically do that for your entire shoot. It will save to the camera and also to the computer. Anyway, that's what I wanted to show you, because I think that a lot of people are just not aware that this was actually, it's not a fix really, it's a feature, but the feature was introduced a while ago, but people still are talking about it like you still can't do this in Capture One, which is absolutely wrong. So hopefully you found this information useful. If you did, please don't forget to give the video a like. And also, if you haven't subscribed to the channel, consider doing so. I make videos about photography every week. So if you don't want to miss out on any of those, click the subscribe button and also the notification bell. And that way you'll be notified when I upload a new video. And if you've got any questions about anything that I covered in here, please let me know. You can put them down in the comments section below. That's the best place to get in touch with me. Otherwise, of course, you can reach me through any of the usual social media platforms, and you're going to find all the links in the description below. Again, I hope you found this information useful. I hope you enjoyed it. I want to thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.